Morning everyone, welcome to the Ethics Integrity Aptitude class of PMF IAS today. And today I am going to discuss about the ethics orientation. This class is about the ethics paper, what is the syllabus, the pattern of question asked by UPSC, the approaches to study prepare this paper I'll be discussing in this class. And based on this syllabus, we'll be continuing the complete course of foundation. So first of all, let me uh, discuss one thing that generally students take ethics paper lightly. There is one problem when you appear in the prelims examination. After the prelims result is prelims exam is over, you have very less time, approximately 60-65 days to prepare for mains. In that less time, it is not possible to prepare ethics paper from scratch. Then students generally start searching for the crash courses or short courses. In that short courses, they are not able to develop the orientation and approach of the paper. The requirement of the paper, a student is not able to prepare in such a short period because they have to prepare other GS papers also, vast syllabus plus optional paper, preparing for essay also. So don't take this lightly, ethics as lightly, because there will be average marking in your ethics paper. One more thing, student generally treat ethics as that general paper which they think that they will be able to answer spontaneously. So I will suggest you avoid spontaneity in the paper because there are lot many things subject matter asked by UPSC in this paper. I will share how subject matter contents are asked in this paper. And if you don't have knowledge of the subject matter, you will not be able to writing anything. You will be beating around the bush and there will be disaster. So don't think that spontaneously as it is ethical thinking, right, wrong, good, bad, you will be able to write anything there. Don't think this. Don't be spontaneous that in the examination hall I will write as per my personality. I am able to intellectually carve out or decide what is right, what is wrong. That will be sufficient. No, you will come to know with the passage of time, you will come to know that there is in-depth subject matter available in this paper and thorough preparation of the subject is required. And don't procrastinate it till the mains examination because you will have less time and it is an extensive content you have to cover, then revise and then develop your aptitude in that particular section. Got the point? So what I suggest, first thing I said that don't procrastinate, don't delay, don't postpone it. Things to do, number one. Things to do, number one. Don't postpone till prelims. That you will be writing after prelims. Second, don't try to be spontaneous. Try to be spontaneous. One example of the subject matter content I should share with you here at this point of time. There is a word honesty and there is word integrity. There is use of word probity also here and there. But there is basic difference between honesty and integrity. And students don't know, generally those who have not prepared subject matter wise, they don't know what is the difference between honesty and integrity. So if honesty is this circle, sorry, integrity is this circle, honesty is this circle. Honesty is just one part of one of the component of integrity. Okay, integrity is something, your thought, expression, action, the mix of these, this part is integrity. When they are one, holistically one, it is integrity. And there are lot many examples. With the help of that, you will be able to understand integrity. Honesty is something, it can be defined in a particular way, righteousness, etc. But integrity is a very comprehensive component in your personality. Similarly, there is difference between responsibility and accountability. UPSC had asked this question recently about being responsible and sense of responsibility in a student, in a person as a civil servant. Very precise, very significant, to the point contents are available. So you need to go through detailed syllabus. You should not be spontaneous. I will discuss various aspects of ethics paper to you. So this is GS-4 that we all know. It's GS-4, and this GS-4 paper, it has so it is a GS-4 paper is 20 to 50 marks paper, out of which the theory part out of which the theory part there is question of 130 marks. 130 marks question is asked. Generally each and every question is 10 marks each. 10 marks each. And you need to write 150 words. And second part is case studies. Case study part is 120 marks. It is 20 marks each. Generally you have to write 250 words answer for case studies. And in theory part itself, there is one very common, the quotations questions. 10 marks each, 3 questions. 10 marks each, 3 questions. This is to test the students' personality orientation or ethical orientation in the personality. Now, one thing, suppose we can you say by yourself, if I ask one question, can you say by yourself that I am an ethical person? Yeah, very few people can call it. But if you examine your life, your way of thinking, your action, behavior, etc., it will be difficult to recognize that I am an ethical person. Very difficult to recognize. And the most important hurdle which we face not being ethical is the surrounding and the growing up, the component of the environment which coming to us. Because of the surrounding in which we are born and brought up, that does not allow us becoming ethical. So biggest hurdle, that your friend is not honest, how can you honest? Your neighbor is not sensitive towards your cause. Neighbor is not thinking ethically, neighbor is thinking practically. How can you think about your neighbor ethically? There is huge corruption in the country. Can you imagine that you will be living a life beyond corruption? How can I live this life, this consumeristic or materialistic life which everyone is living? A better life, a good life, a standard life, which we assume. Good life is not that life you assume. But you assume this life to be good life, luxuries of life. So traveling by air and vacations outside the country, staying somewhere in 5-star hotels, costly dinners, party making, or luxury cars, your flats should be, your bungalows should be there with you. This is good life. And more you achieve one by one targets, you are achieving success in life. This is the parameter which society has set and you adopted it, and you are getting adapted into it. Society set this parameter, you adopt, and you yourself get adapted to this. In this background, thinking that I will become ethical is very difficult, and you start preparing for civil service examination in a very short period of time. You assume that UPSC can't assume that you can become ethical. So if you are ethical by personality, very less people. Those who are ethical by personality, UPSC assume that they will be writing the paper and they will be getting selected, or they should be given opportunity. They are searching for ethical people. But I know majority of people, large number of people who are preparing for civil service, they are not originally an ethical person. They are not the person who have sidelined the society's perception of life, and they have led their own perception of life. Means you are living your life beyond society's life, an ethical life which society thinks you don't accept. Society thinks ethical life in a particular manner, and you follow because you adopt it. This is the biggest challenge. You can't become ethical. Very difficult to become ethical. And in a very short period of time preparing for civil service, that time you change yourself. Will it be possible? Then how things will work? If you are not able to become ethical in short period of time, how things will work? How shall your answer reflect your ethical personality? So there is a solution. In this regard, there is a solution. There is a concept called ethical orientation. I will teach you this also. Ethical orientation. It will help. So I'll discuss with you the syllabus of UPSC first. I'll come to this point. I'll discuss with you the syllabus of UPSC. There is very vast syllabus from my point of view, which I am going to teach. It will cover so many things, or it will cover almost every dimensions in the previous year question. These are, so this is the syllabus I have written till topic 37. I have written. UPSC syllabus is something else. What we are going to study means again classifying what UPSC is trying to put in the syllabus, and based on the UPSC's requirement, this syllabus has been decided. I am teaching ethics paper. I am teaching ethics paper uh, since 2013 when this syllabus came. And I have one of my books from McGraw-Hill, although only Hindi version has been completed, Hindi medium has been completed, means is in market. English medium book is not in market right now. I am writing this book, going to complete very soon. Will be completing that book. Soon I'll complete. So very soon that book will also be in the market. For McGraw-Hill I have written my book. Now what I said, that what we can do, what you can do, it's very difficult for you to become an ethical. If you are ethical person, very good, salute to you. Means you have been able to resist society's declining values and developed in yourself an instinct of a moral person. That is salute to you. Otherwise, lots of challenges being ethical. I will teach this point. What are the challenges becoming ethical? How can you train yourself so that you adopt moral practices? I will teach you those components. But this is the challenge. So being ethical in short period of time becomes difficult. What can be done? You can develop an ethical orientation. Ethical orientation is the first or prerequisite for preparing for ethics paper. So when you study whole paper, suppose ethics paper you study, partially the orientation comes in you. So when you are trained in a particular subject, you start getting biased towards that subject. You start getting thinking from that subject's point of view. Like I teach international relations or polity or governance when I teach them. So when I see activities of the administration, I start thinking from the perspective of how the policy had been made and what problems implementation will have. Or when I see West Asia, Central Asia, I see from the perspective of the dynamics of geopolitics over there. My thinking starts getting molded in that direction the way I have been taught. So this ethical orientation will develop when you are passing through, when you are preparing this subject, because the subject matter knowledge brings in you an knowledge attitude. Attitude is also a topic which you will be studying. So it develops in you a knowledge attitude and you start having orientation ethical. So first requirement or the prerequisite for preparing this ethics paper is you must have ethical orientation. What I said just now, now first thing that you don't have to delay, procrastinate or postpone your preparation of ethics, because after preliminary you will not have time. And if you think that, oh, even if I am not prepared, I know things, I know about this, I have logics. So you will put your logic somewhere and you are putting logic somewhere else. Those logics can be contradictory. Examiner will be able to pick it. I, as an examiner, when I evaluate copies of students, I am very sure that this person is mugging up and writing. Originally, his thinking is not such. So when you try to write spontaneous, there will be mess in the copy. There will be beating around the bush, just trying to find something without goal, and that will be dangerous. Plus there are subject matters, too deep subject matters. If I ask you difference between honesty, integrity, one example. Second, I ask you objectivity, impartiality. I ask you difference between accountability and responsibility. Yeah, one line you can say, but you will not be able to write 150 words or something which is very crucial to these two definitions. Or if I talk about like you have to read the Buddha's teaching, Jainism's teaching, and not just teaching, it's practical application. If I say you moral dilemmas, you will be able to find out one moral dilemma. I will be showing you so many moral dilemmas which a civil servant faces in administration. Or choosing means or the end, your approach will be a common man's approach that will be ultimately wrong. And subject matter knowledge help you choosing between right, what is the best solution in moral, choosing the means or the end. So subject matter study is important. And then one prerequisite is you have to develop the ethical orientation. Something comes to you when you are preparing the paper. So our discussion for approximately 80 classes, it will help you, means 80 hours, it will help you understand how should you think for perceiving the questions of the paper and writing them. Ultimately, this paper will help you becoming a very good human being. If you study it sincerely, it will bring a comprehensive change in your personality. It is sure that if you are sincere about this paper, your way of thinking will change. Now let's start. Let's see about. So first of all, I'll discuss these points. First of all, if I have to classify whole part of the ethics, then one part is one part is philosophy, one part is philosophy and its application. One part is philosophy and its application. Number one, first part. Second part is administrative ethics. And third part is social psychology. This is a smaller part. I will deal with them. Three parts are there. Those who are already good in philosophy, they can do this part better. But the problem comes to those who are having good philosophy subject matter. The problem with them remains in application part. I will show you question that social media usage, this previous 25 to 2025's question, that social media is an inalienable part of our life. It's very important, very crucial. But the use of that social media or becoming part of that social media brings lots of ethical dilemmas. So many ethical issues emerges because of that. So question is from ethical dilemma, but its application in social media. I will deal with this question also as part of our discussion. I'll do it. So application is important. Those who have understanding of philosophy, they will face difficulty in application, number one. But they have good knowledge of philosophy or they have instinct to understand philosophy, then they will be preparing those topics better way. Suppose if I start teaching you Plato, Aristotle, or they are thinking in various aspects of essence of ethics. Suppose I teach you Plato, if you have instinct of philosophy, you will better understand it. It will not be boring for you. And if I connect it with practice, means if I connect it with application, then it becomes interesting. So if I teach, even if you are not part of, if you have not studied philosophy, it will be interesting. But you know philosophy, you don't understand application, difficulty. You don't know philosophy, you will have less interest. But if I teach it with application, it becomes interesting. What I mean to say, for those who have knowledge of philosophy, for them some part is very easy. Those who don't have knowledge of philosophy, if they understand the application part, it becomes easy or it becomes interesting. My purpose is to teach you philosophy in such a way that you understand the application, especially the ethics part of philosophy. And second is administrative ethics. This particular part is there in syllabus of public administration and some part in pol science, major part in public administration. This administrative ethics is there. For example, transparency, philosophical context of governance, transparency, or probity in governance. So our right to information, citizens charter, utilization of public fund, corporate governance, it will be easy. And third is social psychology. Social psychology is attitude and emotional intelligence. Two part in the syllabus is social psychology. So three broader divisions are there in the paper. First part here when we start preparing, first part we will be doing about some of the basic ideas, some of the basic concepts up till here. Then we will have working on the thinkers. Essence of ethics is the thinkers. So we will start with basic concepts. Basic concepts idea, what is ethics, what is morality. There is difference between ethics and morality. I'll teach you. Value is very important. Value is a word which is used in different subjects in different way. The word comes from economics, like value of a fan, but it is used in social science, sociology, political science, public administration. So value is a preference, and value in the philosophy or ethics, it is something which is enriching human life. Understanding value from all perspective and different types of values. What different types of values are there? It will take 2 classes approximately, 1.5 classes approximately to go through all the values. UPSC has asked question from social and economic values. So social and economic values. So social values are more important for inclusive growth, inclusive development. So you have to understand social values, economic values, aesthetic values, hedonic values, spiritual values, administrative values. Like values we will study in detail. And belief. Belief part is from social psychology. Belief, cognition, attitude formation related. Basic ideas we shall do. And then details of value or belief we'll do separately. Then we'll discuss the branches of ethics, means dimensions of ethics. From here also question has been asked. 4 branches of ethics are there. Then why study ethics is very important. Some of these parts from 3 to 9 is very important. From here directly question is asked, or indirectly when you are writing ethics paper it will be very helpful. Why study ethics means significance of ethics. How ethics has a broad change. Why this subject matter interdisciplinary way studied here and there. There is discussion on media ethics today. There is discussion on medical ethics or biomedical ethics today. Discussion on environmental ethics today. So why this subject matter becomes very prominent these days. And then ethics in human interface. This is syllabus of UPSC. Ethics in human interface is we shall study here that there can be various motivational factors for human behavior, or human behavior is guided by multiple laws. For example, we are doing something because we follow a particular religion. So Hindus will be worshipping a particular way, Muslims will be worshipping some other way, Christians will be worshipping some other way. And we are having a particular type of behavior. For example, there will not be saving on Tuesday. Saving is not done by some people on Tuesday. Hindus follow some. Some people eat the non-vegetarian food, other don't eat non-vegetarian food. They also say they are guided by religion. So there is a religion in human interface. Human behavior is guided by law also. So alcohol is banned in Bihar, is banned in Gujarat, but alcohol is not banned in other states. Drinking alcohol. Or consumption of something we decrease because of particular administrative decision, or we follow traffic rule because of law. So law in human interface, religion in human interface, law in human interface. There can be some other context in like culture in human interface. Similarly, there is ethics in human interface. How ethical component can determine human behavior. And after understanding this part, for us as a civil service aspirant, for you as a civil service aspirant, more important is law and ethics, law and morality. So law and morality, I will teach you very detailed discussion. It will be so interesting and impactful that you will be able to write questions with transparency, with clarity. That when we talk about law and ethics means for civil service aspirants, law and ethics is important. Like for medical science student, there is a biology and ethics is important. Similarly, for environmental science student, the environmental laws and ethics are important. Similarly, the state law and ethics are important for us as a civil service aspirant for you. So how law and ethics are similar, how they are complementary, and how they contradict. When contradict, there creates moral dilemma, what to do by the civil servant when the law is contradictory to ethics. When the rule is not able to achieve general good, what should you do? UPSC asks many questions on this particular dilemma. UPSC asks so many questions. That what if a rule is not followed, or what should you do? Should you prefer the moral course, greater good, or should you follow the rules which is written? So first understanding this relationship, and then how they are contradictory, in what way they bring moral dilemma to us, and how to resolve those dilemmas, what to do in that case. We shall study that part. Plus, morality is morality, law related morality. So constitution is also a legal document. So constitutional morality, its relationship with rule of law, we shall study. UPSC has asked at least 3 times in past 12 years, 3 times question has been asked from this idea, rule of law or constitutional morality. In 2025 itself, question has been asked, the significance of constitutional morality for civil servants. So what is exactly constitutional morality? How it is practically visible in the working of the civil service? And what are its significances? Plus we see that there is Indian constitution which carries values, moral values. What are they? So moral values in Indian constitution we shall study. Then we shall study effects of ethics. Ethics is affecting human life. Means morality has impact on human life. There can be social life impact or individual life impact. So morality impacting me individually. So you see, if I follow a moral life, it can have negative impact on me. If I follow a moral life, there can be positive impact on me. So there are so many people who are poor materialistically because of the moral life following. But those people suffer too much, too many. Leading an immoral life brings mental stress, agony. Corruption is not so easy. It's not like a cake. Corruption is very difficult because it has lots of risk, lots of factors which is impacting our day-to-day life. Individually, people are going through lots of diseases at present. Number of diseases and its quantum in the society has increased. Every sixth or fifth person is a diabetic patient. Every fourth person is a blood pressure patient. In America, every fourth person consume the drug alprazolam, Alprex or something else, or clonazepam, tranquilizer they consume. Why it happens? The declining morality in human life is individually affecting human being. And social relationship, social interaction, social behavior pattern, development of certain laws, rules, etc., acceptance, adoption of particular way of living, social effect, what are they, how it is impacting. If these things you are preparing properly, you will be able to write the crux of those. Then determinants of ethics. Determinants of ethics, their different way determination. What factors determine or how to come to know whether a particular behavior is a moral behavior or not. So I'll teach you this. Plus means and a relationship. Means and relationship means means important or the end. Should we choose means or the end? What is more important, means or end? A very fine knowledge of understanding of or analysis of this part you will come to know. And UPSC has asked the question, you will be able to write answers so precisely with the help of this our discussion in the class, that you will be internally satisfied that I have written something. We'll discuss this part. Then essence of ethics, here we shall study about the theories. So there are virtue theories, there is moral virtues. So virtue theory we shall study. There is 3 theories are there. The more prominent theories are 3 in number. So one is virtue theory, second is duty theory, third is consequential theory. 3 major theories are there. Apart from these major theories, there are other theories also. For example, up to here, from here to here, cultural relativism, Rawls theory of justice, intuitionism, ethical egoism, or prima facie duty by W.D. Ross, or rights theory with reference to rights theory by John Locke, etc. So many theories are there. These are other theories, but this three there are three theories, the fundamental theories of ethics, basic theories of ethics. One is virtue theory, second is duty theory, and third is consequential theory. Three theories are there. So virtue theory is more important. Its application is more and more done. So in virtue theory, we will study Plato's idea, Aristotle's philosophy, and present day relevance. Is virtue important? So virtue theory says that see the man, not the behavior, or character of a person is examined. It says that if a person is having particular character, moral character, if he has a certain virtues, then he will act morally. Whatever action he does, he will be moral. So inculcating values, inculcating morality in the person, change the character. Character of the person is important. Study of individual human behavior is not done. How far it will be able to examine each and every behavior. Civil servant sitting in the office and he is negligent, he is not doing work on time. UPSC has asked question, negligence is also a type of corruption. So negligent, slow working, how can you calculate, how can you assess his working? You create pressure, work too much, like it happened in case of SIR recently. BLOs, block level officers who were given task that complete within 2 months the exercise called SIR, Special Intensive Revision. Then opposition party started claiming that BLOs are dying, suiciding. In private sector, the people work for 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours. In government sector, if much pressure created, there will be democratic crisis. There will be, government will face various issues and problems from the political circle. So creating much pressure or observing each and every behavior of the civil servant will be difficult. It will not be possible to go through each and every behavior of the civil servant. So duty theory says that the action is important. What human being does is important. So human action is examined. Character of the action is examined, but each and every action cannot be examined. So duty theory fails when we have to apply it in civil service. In civil service, the virtue ethics is more prominently applied. That is why we are talking about code of ethics today. So virtue theory talks about what character human beings should have, what virtues a person should have, and its application in the form of virtue in the civil service we have to go through. So why virtue is more important than the professional skills? Why moral virtue is more important than the professional skills? Professionally very capable, but morally low. In the scale of comparison, morally low. Should we prefer those people who are having dishonesty but technically superior? These days, private sector hiring those people who are crooks, those who are able to manipulate, those who are able to ditch the society. You see, recently some reports we studied that hospitals are employing the doctors with targets. That whatever you need to do, you will be giving you 1 crore rupees per year, 2 crore rupees per year. But the monthly targets you should fulfill. Either you put stent on the healthy person, or you write more and more tests and get it conducted. So they don't want, and an honest person who says, no, you don't need any treatment, you don't need to come to me, that person will be thrown out from the hospital. Private sector employing the crooks, those who can manipulate, etc. Virtue is very significant. The character is very significant. This character is important for civil service. Private sector, it is okay. But the government's goal is not to earn profit. Government's goal is to bring transformation in society. So this virtue is very important. And then what moral virtues, we shall study this in details. These words are very simple words like honesty, integrity, responsibility, accountability, objectivity, integrity, neutrality, anonymity, responsiveness, trustworthiness. These are words very simple, but these words are not so simple. First, here in virtue we shall study the thoughts of the scholars, what scholars say. If the direct question comes from scholar or reference to scholar comes, you can write. Second, its relevance, present day relevance, relevance in the civil service, comparing the moral virtues and the professional specialization or professional competence of the person. We shall do here. So professional competence person required in private sector, but morally enriched person is needed in civil service because government does not have. So how this comparison or understanding of this particular dynamics we will do in the class. And then what moral virtues civil servants should have. That in our syllabus it is written public service values. What values civil servants should have. So these values are honesty, integrity, responsibility. So responsibility and accountability seems to be similar words, but they are different. How they are different? What to write as them to be different? I will show you one question that a sense of responsibility civil servants would have. Both cases answerability. Both cases answerability. But in responsibility, willingness to respond in a particular situation is important. Ability to respond and willingness to respond, and duty towards self, duty towards someone for whom we are working. Response ability, ability to respond along with willingness to respond. There are people who know that I can solve your problem. Inspector knows he will be able to solve the problem of the victim, but he needs money. Or civil servant knows that he is able to help old age person during in case of pension something else, but he needs money. Ability to respond is there, willingness to respond is not there. So internally guided force responsibility, I will teach you very precise and structured way so that whenever you need to write, you can write answer properly. What is that responsibility? How it is different from what is accountability? How it is different from accountability? Why do we need responsibility today much? Because we have failed in this regard. Accountability has not been sufficient. Accountability is not sufficient at present. External checks or CCTV cameras have not been successful. Because if a person wants to be negligent, he will search the way by which he can manipulate the situation. So accountability has failed. We need responsibility. How? This way we shall study. The concept of objectivity is there, impartiality is there. Are they same thing? There is difference. Then there is political neutrality, which is required, very important topic. Civil servants are becoming more and more close to their political masters, or they have started developing the political essence in them. What is this concept? Taught in public administration more. Neutrality and anonymity. Your name, your fame, you are not in front. Name of the minister. Civil servant's name does not come. Anonymity. Neutrality, political one. How it is desired. What kind of behavior exists in the civil servant today? Why civil servants are not neutral at present? You will see so many civil servants resign and they fight election. It happened recently in Bihar. The IAS topper Shah Faisal, he resigned and he formed his own political party. He left then, he could not succeed. He left then, he joined civil service again. But he resigned. IAS topper. How UPSC was able to choose that? How UPSC chosen that person who had political mindset, or he was a right human being, but he decided to be political. Why? So political ambitions are there. This reason they go closer to politicians, so they become politically biased. So one political party, they will be working more and more in favor of that party or against another party. This dynamics we shall understand. How neutrality comes, what factors has impacted working against neutrality. Similarly, other civil service values are there, like responsiveness, trustworthiness, spirit of service. Then compassion towards weaker section, fortitude, empathy, tolerance, quality consciousness, that we shall study in the virtue ethics part. Then there is duty ethics is another important dimension. Duty ethics here, Immanuel Kant related. Immanuel Kant is a very important philosopher of Renaissance period. So we are studying philosophers also. We did in virtue theory Plato, Aristotle. In duty theory we shall study Kant also. Bhagavad Gita's reference we will take. Gandhi's reference we will take. And duty creates moral dilemma. So moral dilemma is a common subject. There is a common question asked so many times. Like for example, like it is 2025's paper. It is 2025's GS-4. Okay. And here there is a question: in the present digital age, social media has revolutionized the way of communication. Read this question. In the present digital age, social media has revolutionized our ways of communication and interaction. However, it has raised several ethical issues and challenges. Describe the key ethical dilemmas in this regard. From ethical dilemmas, earlier also question has been asked by UPSC. So ethical dilemma always will come. When you solve case study is about ethical dilemmas. What action there are, what course of actions are there? In case study, a general pattern I will teach you. There is a general pattern. What course of action in this particular situation? Which course of action would you prefer? Or they ask question this way: what are the ethical issues involved in this particular situation? What shall be your preference? So here ethical dilemma is a very common idea. When we will study about this ethical dilemma here in duty theory, we will not just study ethical dilemma from the perspective of virtue, duty, contrast, or duty consequential. Means there is a goal important, or rule important, means important or end important. It is one contrast. So here means or following rules, following duty or following outcome. Which one? This dilemma is one dilemma. Duty and result, outcome, there can be dilemma, this dilemma. Same thing, rule or goal, means or end, same thing. Is a one type of dilemma. Other types of dilemmas are also there. Although you will not find these things in books here and there, your vast study of the subject matter can help you. So I'll teach you what different types of dilemmas are there and how these dilemmas get exhibited in your behavior in a particular situation. How to resolve them. For example, in this question, there is a reference of that digital age social media has revolutionized the way. Means we are using social media. So do you have any idea that what can be dilemma when you are using social media? One idea. What dilemma you face using social media? Can you suggest? I think one very common dilemma people face, like the social media's advantages vice versa, the issue of privacy. Very common. So is privacy important? To what extent privacy is important? And to what extent need of use of social media is important? Is a one dilemma. When I use social media, I compromise my privacy. You know this point. I don't need to teach. But if I teach you, suppose social media has advantages versus there is question of data sovereignty. Data sovereignty is a very significant word in use these days by experts of defense internal security. Means my country's data should remain in my country. If I use Facebook, if I use WhatsApp or Meta's other social media platforms. So if I use Facebook, if I use Twitter, if I use WhatsApp, they are able to enter into your data region and this data gets stored in America. Anytime, like Facebook has, I will teach you later on, Facebook has lots of components by which they can access your inner or private things or something which is important for you. What food you like, they know. With whom you are interacting, they know. Where is your bank account, they know. How much you spend, they know. What is your interest, they know. Its analysis helps. Suppose they are able to use it for government servants, for military personnel, intelligence bureau personnel. Then if war between US and India, they will have all the idea whom to target, how to target. Plus my data, my country's data must be there in my country. Why should another country store my data taking from here? Why we are Sridhar Bamboo's Zoho we are supporting, Atrai we supporting? Because we want our data to be here. So very important dilemma we are facing is a data sovereignty, sovereignty of the data, security threats for the country. Like that, other dilemmas are also there. It's a big dilemma. If you don't use the word, like if you even without using this word, if you don't write this component, it's a big dilemma. What should I do? Should I think about the country? There are so many people who have switched to Zoho's platform. Why they have switched to? Why they are interested in Indian? Because they have ethically resolved this and they encountered that, yeah, there is a dilemma. Other people, common man, they don't have any dilemma. They don't know about it. But as a civil servant, you are going to be civil servant. You must understand that, yeah, there is this. This is the dilemma. One of the examples of dilemma. I'm not solving the question completely. But data sovereignty is one of the issue which is here. Data sovereignty word maybe you may not have come across while preparing for civil service. It's not a common word, very commonly used, but very important word. That my data should remain in my country. Why my data gets stored in other countries? And so many else. I'll talk about it. Okay. So moral dilemmas. What are these moral dilemmas? You understand different types of moral dilemmas. Moral dilemmas at the level of the universal goal like humanity. Dilemmas at the level of the government, your country. Then moral dilemma at the level of your state community. Individual dilemmas. Societies, sorry, then relationship and then individual dilemmas. Various levels of dilemmas are there. And then various types of dilemmas are there. If you understand them, in contrast, you can chalk out which should be preferred, which should be chosen. Then you will be able to answer the questions of this type. Then there comes consequential theory. Consequential theory means virtue theory says, according to virtue theory, the man's character, virtue is the character, moral character. So character is examined. Character is important. Virtue virtue theory examines the character. What character you should have? So there can be like Plato says something like courage should be there, wisdom should be there, temperance should be there, justice should be there. Aristotle studies, he says means, golden means. Sorry. Or talking about civil service, this character, when you talk about civil service, honesty is required, integrity is needed, responsiveness, sense of responsibility in the person. So what human beings character is, character, when character is given emphasis, virtue theory. Duty theory means Dion. Dion means duty. It's a deontology, study of duty. So it's about Dion. What duty you have. Don't think about outcome. What is your duty? So duty is concerned with the action. Action. Like for simply examine Bhagavad Gita, it says, do your duty, forget the result outcome. So when duty is studied, or purity in the duty concern is studied, it is duty theory. Duty theory emphasizes on the action of the character of the action, quality of that action. So human beings' action is examined, its character is taken into consideration, duty theory. Consequential theory, outcome theory is called teleology. Telos means end. End is good, all is good. Telos means end. So study of the end, outcome, result. What means you applied to achieve that end is not important. So if some action is bringing good outcome, action is moral. This theory is there in the work of Epicurus, or Aristotle also talks about. So Epicurus, Aristotle, utilitarian philosophers like Bentham. Utilitarian theory is a very important theory. Utilitarian philosophy is very important consequential theory. It talks about consequence, outcome, result. And here Bentham, Jeremy Bentham and J.S. Mill, their work. Other scholars also there, I'll relate. But the more important is how this utilitarian philosophy finds relevance today. You will be surprised to know that market is based on utilitarian philosophy. Or Smith, economist Smith. So Smith talks about laissez-faire, non-interference by state. It draws support from utilitarianism. So laissez-faire, non-interference in the economic dimension of the people, laissez-faire or non-interference, it comes from utilitarian philosophy. You'll be surprised to know. So liberalism is coming from utilitarian. Liberalism, state should interfere less and less, liberty more and more to people. Liberalism. Neoliberalism means market. Today neoliberalism means market. So idea of privatization is coming from utilitarianism. So more market, more private sector, utilitarian philosophy. So is a privatization related to utilitarianism? How? In what way it contradicts other theories? Like do we need Bentham or utilitarianism, or we need the John Rawls theory of justice? John Rawls theory is contradictory to this idea of utilitarianism. How we will understand? Then ethical side of globalization. Utilitarianism also support globalization. Consequential theory, utilitarianism. Utilitarianism support globalization. How? I will teach you. If you know how utilitarianism related to globalization, then you will be able to understand the ethical side of globalization. And then in international ethics writing, you can write the ethics interrelationship. So globalization, ethical side of globalization coming from utilitarianism. So when you are studying here the consequential theory of ethics, you are studying Epicurus, Aristotle, or Bentham or Mill, especially utilitarian philosophy. Utilitarian philosophy is not isolated philosophy like you are studying just philosophy. You are studying its application in the form of its application in the market, privatization. Studying in the field of globalization, you are studying. And one thing, very important thing that I need to highlight here, that recently government has reforms. Throughout the world, government has reforms. Very prominent reform is from rule orientation to goal orientation. So duty theory is concerned with rules. It is concerned with rules. What should I do? I should perform my duty. I should follow my rules. I should follow the rules. So duty theory is concerned with rules. It is concerned with means. It is not concerned with goal. It is not concerned with outcome. Consequential theory says no, rule is not important, goal is important. And you see various reforms of the world. Osborne Gabler's reinventing government, or new public management, or public choice theory. Various theories of administration, theory of good governance also. All theory talks about shift to goal. This aspect, application in the government, we will study. Then comes topic cultural relativism. So cultural relativism is a and Rawls' theory of justice, intuitionism. They are other theories than three major. I said three major theories are there. First major theory is duty theory. Second major theory is first major theory is virtue theory. Second is duty theory. Third is consequential theory. Three major theories are there. Major theories are three. Virtue, duty, consequential. Character of the person, character of the action, outcome of the action. Duty theory, deontology, consequential theory, teleology. Three major theory. Apart from that, these are other theories like cultural relativism, Rawls' theory of justice, intuitionism, ethical egoism, prima facie duty by W.D. Ross. They are other theories. Then other theories, cultural relativism is very important. Like there is a universality of that theory. America says liberal democracy is the best form of government. America says liberal democracy is the best form of government. And if a country is not having liberal democracy, they are immoral. Because liberal democracy can bring prosperity. Britishers tried to impose their culture. They said that we have a particular way of life and this is the best life. You are practicing your life, this life is inferior to us. British always claimed that we are on civilizational mission. So they tried to show their culture superior, other cultures inferior, and they said that their cultural practice is moral, other cultural practice is immoral, based on universal theory, means what they say, what their lifestyle is universally best. But counter to this theories came, other theories came, culture relativism, means morality is relative to culture. Because human beings' life, their environment, their social practices, their economy is different from one place to another. So if in Japan there is a strict imposition of one child norms, it will be good. Because density of population is very high. But if there is a less population in the northern African states, if there is a strictness in the population control, it will be wrong. So based on culture, something is right, something is wrong. Something is moral, something is immoral based on culture. In India, if a person drinks 2 peg, sorry, I am taking some, but important. So if a person takes 2 peg, he will start shivering. imbalanced. So culturally, in marriages or in celebrations or in civilized settings, generally drinking is avoided or drinking is banned. Social ban. Worshipping something else, it is banned. Although there are in some marriages, but generally don't prefer. Or if father and child cannot sit, father and son cannot sit to take drink. But you go to Scandinavian countries, their father, son, grandson all will sit together and they will drink. Because there the environment, if they don't take wine, their blood will become so cold that the blood movement will be difficult. And India, there is a warm climate. Here, it is not affecting blood, it is going directly to cerebellum imbalance. So based on culture, morality can be determined. Detailed discussion on that from various perspectives we will do. How culture determine ethics. How the claims of a superior culture, how the claims of it is called ethnocentricity basically in political science or public administration word. Ethnocentricity. So it's ethnocentric approach that my culture is the best and this is the universally good. This is contradicted by cultural relativism. How it works with examples we shall study. Then Rawls is very prominent scholar. John Rawls is very important thinker in terms of justice. He has given a theory of justice. What is that theory? From here, direct question has been asked by UPSC earlier. They can ask in the future also. The comparison of John Rawls with the utilitarianism can be made, maybe in future. We shall study that part. Then idea of intuitionism, ethical egoism, prima facie duty. Prima facie duty is concerned with the moral dilemmas. W.D. Ross's idea. We shall study this. Theory of right is also important. In polity, in ethics paper, both this is important. Like there is concept of natural right. So natural right philosophy, most important philosophers of that is the John Locke. For example, John Locke says that right is universal, right is natural, right is inalienable, right is equal. So even if you study polity, you have studied about the difference between the rights in India, fundamental rights in India, and Bill of Rights of America. Can you say one difference, major difference between Bill of Rights of America and Bill of Rights in India? Can you write in the chat box? Anyone can write in the chat box. No one. Enforceability. Make it clear. Make it clear. I am making it clear. In US or in India, there is difference, major difference between fundamental right is that in America, the fundamental rights are based on natural right principle. In America, fundamental right comes through amendments. It was not there in the original constitution. 1791, for the first time, 10 amendments were made. First 10 amendments. First 10 amendments in US, first 10 amendments provided for fundamental right or Bill of Rights. It came in 1791. You read the amendments. If you read the 9th amendment, up to 10 amendment, there is written what? Bill of Rights is written in 10 amendments. If you read 9th amendment, it is written what is not provided by these articles is also given. Means what is not written in the constitution is also given. Means the right which is not given, right which is not given by constitution is also available to people. Natural right theory says, natural right philosophy says that human being has right by virtue of their birth as human being. Constitution give right, don't give right, does not matter. Constitution gives right, also right is available. Constitution does not give right, also right, then also right is available. Right is available, why? Because it is because of nature right is available. Human being takes birth as human being, because of that right is available. So right is naturally given to or made available to human being. Human being has right which is natural. Naturally we have freedom. We are born free, Rousseau says. So we are born free. We have a right to be free. Liberty is our right because it is our right. What if Constitution does not give? Constitution gives or not? Law gives or not? Social norms gives or not? Right is naturally available. So American Constitution writes here that right which is not written is also available. So America has innumerability of rights. America has innumerability of rights. Enumerated rights are there in America. In America there are enumerated rights. Sorry. In America there are unenumerated rights. Unenumerated rights. India has only enumerated. It is US. In India it is only enumerated rights, which is enumerated in the constitution. ये टीवी So in US basically the rights are also which is not written, means even unenumerated rights are available to people. Something which is not enumerated available to people. In case of India, it is only which is written in the constitution is available. India does not follow natural right. Natural right is that right philosophy which says that right is not dependent on certain law. India has legal right philosophy. Only those rights which are mentioned in constitution and especially in part 3 of the constitution are fundamental rights. Those who are not mentioned in part 3, it is not fundamental right. So fundamental right has difference. So idea there is a natural right theory is there. Concept of natural right theory is there. Natural rights are morally sanctioned rights. Morally sanctioned rights. So about right, different types of theories. Its application in case of India, how it is different from rights in other parts of the world. These we will study here. Okay. Apart from that, there are certain other thinkers of the West. Some of the thinkers' references are required. So, for example, Nietzsche's theories we will be doing, or Moore's theory we will be doing. So, certain other thinkers from where UPSC can ask question, we will make reference. Some important personalities whose philosophy theories are there, we will take reference. Like Socrates' name has not been mentioned, but we will be discussing Socrates' idea. So, certain other thinkers of the West we shall do. And then Indian social reformers. So here we complete the theory part of, means thinkers part of ethics. Thinkers we will be doing till here. Indian thinkers and Indian philosophers we will be doing under this part. So Indian thinkers, generally question from Indian thinkers is asked as a common general question. For example, there was question from teachings of Mahavira. in 2025. So here teachings of Mahavira, there was a question asked here. So from Buddha question can be asked. From Ramanuja question can be asked. From Gandhi question can be asked. From Vivekanand question can be asked. From Aurobindo question can be asked. We'll take reference of the major teachings of most important social reformers and philosophers. So here teachings of Mahavira, like that we have Indian philosophers. For other thing here. There is a question, quotation based question. Quotations of great thinkers. 3 questions every year is asked. Question number 3A is from Thiruvalluvar. Those who in trouble untroubled are will trouble itself. Means those who are in trouble but they are not troubled, they will make the trouble troubled. So who do not deviate their path even in trouble, they are threat to the trouble itself. Trouble does not come to them. Trouble fear coming before them. There is a quotation by Thiruvalluvar. Now, in a present context, what they convey? We have seen, have evaluated copies of students. So generally student does what in this question? Those who have studied about Thiruvalluvar, so they will be writing more about Thiruvalluvar's philosophy in this answer. No. Or Swami Vivekanand, generally almost every year or alternate year Swami Vivekanand questions are there. Strength of a society is not in its laws but in the morality of its people. Law versus morality. Strength not in the law but in the moralities of the people. When I will teach you law and ethics, you'll be able to answer the question. Now, what I want to say. Question is not from what Vivekanand says more and more about it. What message it conveys, quotations conveys in the present context. It is only the statement by scholars, philosophers, thinkers. What is its meaning in the present context? I evaluate copy, they write what they know about Vivekanand or Thiruvalluvar, they write. You don't have to write much about them. Because question is not from what they are saying more and more. It's question about its present context. What is the meaning of this statement in present context? Okay. So here, this part, this I said the Indian scholars, Indian thinkers, Indian social reformers and Indian philosophers, this part. So from this part directly question can be there. I shown you from Mahavir. There was a question, so many questions from Gandhi asked, Vivekanand's question has been asked. So question can be asked from Jyotiba Phule, from other social reformers. So we will prepare it. Means important, highlighting important reformers and philosophers and their teachings and interrelating it with the present world. We will be doing. And simultaneously we will be working on quotation based questions. Like I will pick the questions of the previous year. Few quotations I will pick. And I will try to write, discuss with you and write with you that what should be written here. It will develop an approach in you how to answer the quotation based questions. Because quotations will not be repeated. Same quotation will not come next year. But it will help you develop the approach how to write the quotations. So we'll do quotation based questions. Okay. Up to here, the philosophy, the philosophy part, 3 parts I said, 3 parts are there. This philosophy part is complete. This part is complete. It's a big part. The larger part of the syllabus is this one. It will consume approximately 60% of our time of the theory part. 60% of the theory part is consumed here. Then comes Then comes the administrative ethics part. This part is up to here, administrative ethics part. So UPSC has mentioned this thing different way. First of all, we will start with how the philosophy and governance is interrelated. For example, philosophical context of governance. For example, I say what is that? For example, that state has idea of state is a ethical idea, and state is ethical idea. We find reference in Kautilya's work, Matsya Nyaya philosophy, that everywhere Matsya Nyaya, rule of fish, law of fish, big fish swallowing the small fish. Then people approached Manu and said to him, "Come, rule over us, bring peace, prosperity, happiness." State is created for moral reasons. So today government rests on moral reasons. So with the help of certain ideas and concepts, we will study how state is a moral entity. So Ordway Tid says, Tid is a scholar, he says, the administration is a moral act and administrator is a moral agent. Administration is a moral act. Administrator is a moral agent. So philosophical side of the governance we shall study. Then only we can enter into ethics and administration. So how ethics and administration related we shall study here. Then one part of administrative ethics is accountability. Accountability means it is power of the people. Whose power? Power of the people. People have given power to constitution. We the people of India, means constitution draws power from people. And constitution gives power to the government. And that government's power enjoyed by administration. Originally whose power? The power of the people. Then as the power of the people, those who use this power must be answerable to people. In this context, accountability, what is the concept of accountability? Why accountability is important? How it works? Various mechanisms by which accountability is established. Moral framework of this accountability we shall study. Then we'll talk about probity in government. Probity in governance here, like how administration can be made more transparent, more accountable, more welfare oriented. Remaining in this framework, how it can be honest, having integrity, or certain other traits and qualities and values about which we studied earlier, means we did here in this way. This point I did not highlight much, but I discussed these points, this point. So how in administration there will be probity, how that will be accountability. We'll study RTI also. RTI not from the perspective of administration governance, from the perspective more of the morality. Citizens charter from that point of view. Utilization of public fund and corruption. Utilization of public fund is not so simple, easy to say. What happens, suppose a bureaucrat has to travel, flight, go to Mumbai to attend a conference. So those who are in bureaucracy, they decide how much fund should be sanctioned. So travel allowance given to a bureaucrat is decided by the bureaucrat. And they can determine the how much money should be sanctioned. What a person sitting at the level of additional secretary, he frames a rule. In that rule, he mentions that travel allowance to particular department to visit Mumbai for purpose of seminar, conference, workshop, etc. will be 20,000 to and fro. Actually, the bureaucrats use this amount some way by taking the costly airfare to and fro, or by luxurious travel they use it. So here the question is on the probity or better utilization of public fund. It is public money. It should be utilized in such a way that it does not harm public good. Now, what rules should be there? What rules should be there for canons of financial propriety? There are certain rules or canons of financial propriety which help better utilization of public fund. What are they? What issue comes in their utilization? What mechanisms are there? Like CAG as a mechanism, its auditor is a mechanism available. What new mechanisms can be suggested to better utilize public fund? And then corruption. What is corruption? How it is there? What are the causes of that corruption? What mechanism or machinery available? What law is there? Like for example, Lokpal is there. Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 is there. Are they effective? Their effectiveness. Lokayukta in the state, their effectiveness. We shall study here. Then there is moral dimension of subsidy. Subsidy of freebies become a very common, you know. About this we will make discussion. Then the concept of corporate governance. There are why see studying about the government, how we come switch to the private sector. A question arises that why should we study about private sector? But why we study about private sector? You must have heard that there are people working in the private sector, means those who have established a firm, a company, like did by Ambani's or Adani's or Birla's or Infosys or some other companies, Tata's, etc. They created companies. So they created companies, their shareholding is 25%, 30%. With the passage of time, their shareholding is 80%, 89, 90%. With the passage of time, they transfer the shareholding to common man. They bring public offer and they sell the shares to common man. Now, whose money is at stake? Ambani employing family members, giving them salary, 5 crores a year, 20 crores a year. So his individual share 25% in the group of companies and common man 75% money is there. Then who will be losing more? Ambani's family getting more salary, a person in Ambani's family getting more salary. I'm just giving example. I'm not talking about the facts. If they are giving more salary to family members, who will be affected? Definitely Ambani is the owner, it will be affected, but personally it is gaining. Ambanis are gaining personally because their salary is more, their allowances is more. Who will be more loser? Common man. They are the shareholders. They are not getting the salary, they are the shareholders. So compromising shareholders' interest, compromising stakeholders' interest by certain mechanism like insider trading, trade in the shares for personal benefit. These are immoral practices. To check immoral practices, the concept of corporate governance comes. Idea of corporate governance comes. So corporate governance is not related to government but is important because it impacts the shareholders, common people who are stakeholder in the company. So ethical governance of the company, corporate governance we shall study. And then code of conduct to code of ethics. This from here so many times question has been asked by UPSC. Especially code of ethics they have asked question. So how code of conduct different from code of ethics? What standard code of ethics, what points must be there in the code of ethics? I'll teach you. There are certain world level code of ethics formats. ARC2 also talks about a code of ethics. Or Nolan Committee of England has suggested some code of ethics. But the best code of ethics, you study various researchers, scholars. Best model of code of ethics comes from American Society of Public Administration, ASPA's code of ethics. So what various code of ethics, like what ARC2 says, what Nolan Committee says, and what other code of ethics available like ASPA's code of ethics. What are the components in those code of ethics? We shall study. Whistleblowing we shall do. Whistleblowing is a very common topic these days. Ethics in international relations. It's very important. So ethics in international relation, like IR we study as a whole syllabus. We IR syllabus in GS-2. So there we find lots of real politic issue, means the real politics as a philosophy or realism in the international relationship. It is against the idealism. So moral politics is important. World is playing real politic. That is why there is more conflict than cooperation. Narrow interest marred narrow interest marks the or negates the holistic coming together. For example, there are so many examples. For example, fight against terrorism. So fight against terrorism, China is helping Pakistan or supporting Pakistan only because of narrow interest, that it wants to subordinate India's position. China's narrow interest in relation to India compels it to support terrorists. When India wants to bring ban or sanction upon Pakistani terrorists, China supports those terrorists against India. So fight against terrorism, the real politic or ethical concerns are very important. They put obstruction, they put check. Now, what are the factors because of which real politics is played? What are the factors on which the international relations are based? So for example, security concerns. How we can have, the globe can have, the world can have the ethical or idealist relationship. What role international institutions play in this regard? Means UN plays what role in this regard? War is one of the issue. So war is an other type of diplomacy, is a kind of diplomacy. War is a diplomacy. UPSC has asked question also. So war is a diplomacy. Can there be war based on ethical norms? There was saying everything is fair in love and war by Machiavelli. And people practice it. Everything is fair in love and war. So war is there, we can do anything. You can recall the war in Mahabharata, war in Ramayana period. There was time period in which the people used to fight. When the sun sets, you have to drop the weapon. Again sun will rise, you fight. Or Malyuddha, two people are fighting, wrestling, etc., or with weapon. There are norms written. These norms must be followed. Can we have those norms? What is there? We must have a standard concerning treatment with the war prisoners. We must have standard concerning treatment with the army personnel captured by enemy countries. UN has those laws. Are these laws followed by nations? Or spy related laws must be there. CIA has its penetration in the government of India, in China, everywhere. Or KGB has its intervention here and there. MI is working here and there. RAW's influence is there in other countries. Should there be standards and norms concerning that international, the spy practices, espionage system? Like that, various concerns on international ethics, like the fund, transfer of fund, channeled through social platforms or through NGOs, through trust, etc. And these funds somehow go for illegal purpose, creating disturbances. It is said that George Soros, he funds destabilization of the country. Or players are there who fund the destabilization in Bangladesh, in Pakistan. It is said that West destabilized West Asia. America, England destabilized West Asia. They funded the revolution in Libya, in Tunisia, in Egypt, in Bahrain. They funded. So about what about that fund, international fund? What is the ethical issue in those fundings? How they can be checked? So these we will do here, international relations. Then there is a in applied ethics. Applied ethics, there is environmental ethics, bioethics or biomedical ethics, media ethics. AI is another new development. Ethics in AI. So environment, biomedical, media, AI ethics. These ethics are there from where question is asked. In 2024, 2 questions from AI has been asked. Use of AI. How is it ethical? One example I am giving to you. You are a student. You search for content. You search, suppose I say you, for example, I say you define democracy. You want to know about democracy. What shall you do? You will type in the Google, and Google gives an AI based answer. So there will be the chat GPT like answer or Gemini answer of Google. Directly AI writing what is the definition of democracy, which countries have democracy, etc. They write, and you prepare it, you write in the examination. And the topic, the AI answer, at the last there is a tag, a pin like there, this pin like there, or if I draw big, tag is written. If you tap this tag, this one pin, you'll find that it will open Falana IS or Gyani IS, for example. They have written this article. What is the authenticity of this article? This person, these people. I found factually analysis can be subjective, but fact cannot be subjective. Fact is same for everyone. I will teach this part also. I have examined so many facts in the AI answers which are wrong. So you prepare for civil service and you take the definition of democracy here. Oh, Google suggested, or a paragraph from AI says right. But it is written not by AI. AI is picking it from Gyani IS, Falana IS, or some other IS. They picked it. And these people are common man, maybe not expert. They are not philosophers, or they are not subject experts. No, don't know. Who knows who are they? Prepared for civil service for 1 year, did not prepare for civil service. They are writing content these days. So authenticity is one of the very important component of AI, ethical concern of AI, authenticity. AI examine and pick, but AI does not examine the authenticity. It is not capable of examining the authenticity of the person. Similarly, various aspects of the AI based contents are there. So AI puts several challenges. Some of them are ethical challenges. So these ethical challenges of AI, how to resolve these ethical challenges of AI, that discussion we shall be making in our study of applied ethics. So some of the applied, I can't pick too many because more important is environment. AI these days. Media is not so important. Bioethics is not so important. Still, in case study, there can be some questions. So you must prepare. So I will pick some of them. And I will highlight the components, etc. of this applied ethics, relevant applied ethics topics. Okay. So here, up to here, administrative ethics will be complete. It is administrative ethics. Second part will be complete. And then third part is a very important part. Third part. It is part I said earlier also, it is social psychology. Attitude, for example. It is why UPSC has introduced this topic. I will make you clear. Suppose you are writing something. So you are writing something, assuming about yourself something. You don't know that while writing a particular paragraph in which you try to make something wrong, or you try to cheat the examiner, or you try to manipulate the examiner, and you don't know that examiner knows it, examiner will be knowing it. What happens? The people who some people go to shopkeeper and give him 100 rupees note. Shopkeeper is busy. I have seen one person saying that I have given you 500 rupees note. Shopkeeper so busy, so the customer thinks that, oh, he will be forgetting, he has no awareness, I can ditch him, cheat him, he may not be able to calculate, and I can, as there is no CCTV camera, I can prove, I can say, no, I have given, see here, search it, it was in my pocket, like that customer started doing. So many people think that the person opposite to me is not understanding, I can befool him. Those who, and they don't understand what their behavior is. Those who study attitude, they understand their attitude. Those who study attitude, they understand their attitude, and they understand what they are doing and what impact this doing will be created. So sometimes people try to show knowledge, like when you prepare for civil service in Delhi, you return back to your hometown first time, then you will be carrying the book of constitution with you, showing to others, oh, see, I am preparing for civil service. Or even if in during traveling, if anyone is not asking you, what you do, you say, jump and say that I am preparing for civil service, like you become a collector. What is this attitude? If you study attitude, to understand that what I am doing is what. Attitude study gives you orientation by which you start examining your attitude, and your attitude examination helps you understanding your behavior. UPSC introduced this. Reason being, you will be able to know that you are trying to cheat examiner, you are trying to manipulate examiner. You become civil servant, you are doing this, why? You will understand your attitude. So attitude understanding will help self understanding, or self realization, or self constructions understanding. So attitude behavior relationship, behavior attitude relationship, what function attitude perform, structural property of attitude, attitude social influence, how it is related. So attitude we shall study. Plus emotional intelligence is a new subject matter, new topic, 1995. Lot many works are there, but more prominent work is Goldman's model is there. Mayor Salovey's model is there. So you will study emotional intelligence, how there can be non-emotional side of intelligence and there can be emotional side of intelligence. So emotional side of intelligence is concerned with the interpersonal relationship, means interaction of one person's and other person through emotional dimension, and one is interpersonal, second is intrapersonal, within self. So intelligence or ability to understand one's own emotion, ability to understand others' emotions, ability to manage own emotion, ability to manage others' emotions, or ability to manage social relationship from emotional perspective forms emotional intelligence. What is that? How it works? How in administration in emotional intelligence is significant, important. These things we shall study in the part emotional intelligence. And then there will be case study discussion. Case study is a very major part. As I said, it is a 120 marks question. In case study we have 120 marks question, and 6 questions are asked. 6 case study questions are asked. So many hurdles in solving case study is there. First hurdle is the confusion. In solving case study, the first hurdle is the confusion. The first hurdle is confusion. Hurdles. Second hurdle is time element. Case study is lengthier, approximately 300 to 400 words you need to read. You are reading the case study part, half of the page of the sheet, sometimes full of the page of the sheet. You are reading, okay, and then you are going to write the answer. You have very less time. 6 such questions to be asked, answered. So time element is the second hurdle. Third problem is what to write. What to write means here. What to write here means that suppose there are 3 questions in the case study. There is question number A, B and C. 3 questions are there. You know, when you start solving case study, if you have prepared about ethics paper properly, try to solve case studies more, then you know that you can write 2 lines, 3 lines you can write. But how can you write 250 words? 250 words writing is very difficult. Means what to write? How to complete approximately 250 words? It is important to write in detail in such a way that it gives a comprehensive message of your understanding. This is the biggest hurdle perhaps. So from a topic, deriving the subtopic, then its dimensions, then its issue and then its points, going deep into the subject matter while writing is a difficult task. So here my confusion is means complete paragraph in such a short period or pressure. 6 such questions. I have taught so many students who qualified, so many students who appeared in interview, and they all say, sir, could not read properly. Sir, 2 case studies I did as means rough average, below average also. Why? Because of time element. So time element is important, and confusion what has been asked. In the pressure, very difficult to chalk out what has been asked. Sometimes it happens that in question number A, B, C, repetition has been done by the examinee. So they are writing the same thing here, here, here. I will show with the help of case studies that repetition is done more and more. So if I take the one case study here, for example, 2024's case study I have tried to take here. There is a technological company named ABC Incorporated. ABC Incorporation, which is second largest worldwide, situated in the third world. You are chief executive officer and the majority shareholder of this company. The fast technological improvements have raised worries among environmental activists, regulatory authorities, and the general public over the sustainability of this scenario. You confront substantial issue about the business environmental footprint. So topic is environmental footprint. In 2023, your organization had a significant increase of 48% in greenhouse gas emission compared to the levels recorded in 2019. Significant rise in energy consumption is mainly due to the surging energy requirement of your data centers fueled by exponential expansion of AI. AI powered services need much more computational resources and electrical energy compared to the conventional online activities. Notwithstanding their notable gains, the technology's proliferation has led to a growing concern over the environmental repercussions, resulting in an increase in warnings. All models, especially those used in extensive machine learning and data processing, exhibit much greater energy consumption than conventional computer tasks, with an exceptional increase. Although there is already a commitment and goal to the achievement of zero emission by 2030, the challenge of lowering emissions, if you read so many things of, see what, so concising one reading, you are not able to understand the question. Then you have to concise that what the question wants to say. What is the paragraph all about? Without going through paragraph, reading this question will not be sufficient. It will consume more time. Then what is your immediate response to the challenges posed in the above case? What is first response? Discuss the ethical issue involved in the case. Your company has been identified to be penalized by technological giants. What logical and ethical arguments will you put forth convincing about its necessity? Being a conscious being, what measures would you adopt to maintain balance between an AI innovation and environmental footprints? What you see here, question number A and question number D, they will be repetitive. So here your response, immediate response, and here what measures will you take? Repetition takes place. How to avoid it? I'll discuss this case study separately when I'll discuss the uh, case study part. What I want to say here, that case study is not so simple that you go and you read at home. Solving case study will be difficult. Even if you are able to solve case study at home, it will be difficult solving in the examination hall. So we should have a consistent and structured approach to solving case studies. That is why I'll be spending good number of classes for this purpose. In this, I will be teaching you methods of reading, methods of segregating things, how to solve it. I will solve myself the case study in the class. How you can extensively write the contents of the case studies. I will be picking some of the case studies, its answer. In the class, we will be doing it. And I will suggest you that for case study class, when I am taking a case study class, you should be online more and more. Means you should not wait for the lectures to come and then you will be watching it. Watching lectures will be good for the thinkers part, but just watching lecture will not be suggested for the case study part. In case study part, interaction should be more. You must be in front of me so that you are in the examination environment with me. And at the time of examination, solving the case study, examination environment questions arising in your mind, and I answer in that particular situation to you. So here you should be present. So you have to minimize your confusion, how to maximize your time efficiency, and how to write more and more in the case study answers, remaining within the scope of remaining within the scope of ethics or ethical and emotional abilities. It is test of your ethical and emotional abilities. Okay. So last part we shall be doing is case study part. It will be extensively done. I will not be leaving that, oh, I am giving you one two example, you solve. I will be coming teaching you solving this paper. what to write, what words to use, how your answer should manipulate the situation or better utilize the situation so that you can create right impression in the mind of examiner will be done. Okay, so I hope I have discussed the syllabus part properly. Isn't it extensive one? Isn't it? Seems to be, ethics seems to be very simple part, without studying will be done. Some people feel it's very difficult because they feel that the philosophical thinkers to be difficult, but I don't think ethics is so difficult. Yeah, it is more than average because you have not studied this thing in your graduation. Before that also in academics it is not taught. I suggest to government that in the education policy there must be some inculcation of the idea that ethics must be taught at the basic level. So moral science is there, but it is basically etiquettes, your common behavior like throwing garbage in dustbin, like that, or how to wash your hands or being clean, etc. But what about the level of thinking, the social concern, the greater good, everyone's well-being, Vasudev Kutumbakam, or in the government or somewhere else, duty fulfillment, duty performance. What is duty to self? These kind of teachings must be there. So government should come forward, make policies in the education. And this is a challenge for you people. Why? Because you have not been taught this in the early classes. So you have been taught the science, it's okay, you know science. You have been taught the history, geography, etc. So one time you read, it's okay. But ethics never taught. Still, I will try to make it simple, to make it approachable, application part so that it is very practical and as per UPSC's requirement. In between, we'll be doing the previous year questions also. Okay. So it's today's class. You can write your feedback on this subject, on this class. You can put your questions also. From next week, our class is going to start. Means day after is the next class is on. It will be suggested by the management will inform you the class timings, etc. See you in the next class. So we'll start with the fresh with the basic ideas of ethics. Thank you.